and juxtapose it to issues of access to health, issues of access to education, to quality education, not just education, quality education.
Right.
Then you see that the population growth is by nearly twofold outstripping the increment in the provisions of these services, and that is a bad thing for our country. And I think that if we are to have a population, it should be a population that has quality, not just numbers. The second figure that I want to give you is the question of density of persons per square kilometer. In 1980, we had 64 people per square kilometer. Now, this figure rose dramatically to about 85 in 1991. And by 2002, we had the population of 123 persons per square kilometer. What does this mean? This indicates an exertion of pressure
on the land,
on our land. It indicates scarcity of resources for a large number of people. Now, if this continues, if this rate continues to the figure, I think about 57 million that he has indicated, the end result is that we're going to have
by 2050.
By 2050,
right,
we're going to have a purely decimated land cover in this country.
By 2037, we will have about 66 million people.
2037, 66 million people.
Yeah, because every 20 years, the population doubles at the current growth rate of 3.2%.
Does the president give us a figure of the number he wants us to have in this country?
Maybe I should ask him.
Well, I haven't had a direct talk with him as me, but what I know, what I've heard him say, he keeps quoting the Asian tigers, and these are countries in the Asian,
Malaysia, Singapore,
and they say they grew out of numbers, but they did not just grow out of numbers, they also grew in skills.
The other variables.
Right now, I mean, by October, for every one Ugandan, there will be 200 people in the world. For every one Ugandan.
That's the ratio.
That's the ratio. Now, if you got one person from the entire world and get their average, just an average person, then you took them to a supermarket in Sweden and give them the same amount of money that would be at the standard of the Ugandan person.
Yes.
And I mean, even you give them the amount of money at their own standard, country standard,
right,
of living.
Yes.
And you tell them to go shopping, the average Ugandan will only shop on day one.
After that,
he'll be broke, because we are still having poverty. And we're having poverty because of household income. People at household are actually spending more because they have more people in their household. You have 5 kids, but your salary is the same as that one who has 2.
Right.
You know?
So the lifestyles are going to be different.
Yes, so the quality of life is still being affected by having a big population. Number 2, when you talk of a big population, you are actually talking about, you say, okay, big population will have purchasing power. And we know that purchasing power comes from having the ability to purchase.
True.
Which means you have a skill that you can sell, and out of that skill, or out of a product you have, you actually get a service.
Right.
Right now, we have issues of raw maize. Somebody comes in this country and then buys all the raw maize, takes it to Tanzania, removes the posho, brings back the maize brand, and sells the maize brand at the same cost he bought the original maize. The original maize at. Now, of course, the president there has, I can laud him for encouraging this thing of semi-processing,
yes,
to increase the cost. We must plug all the gaps.
Right.
We must plug all the gaps in employment. Every year we have 40,000 graduates.
True.
Yeah, we should plug all the gaps in employment. We should set what they call a minimum wage. Do you know why? I mean, I've been privileged enough to move around the world a bit.
Yes.
I see people with degrees that have evening jobs as security guards.
Right.
Why? Because they're going to earn $6 a night or £6 a night.
Yes.
But right now, you tell a person, take an extra job as a night guard.
They won't even take it.
Yeah, they will not even take it.
Right.
Even people with diplomas will not want to take those jobs because of pay. So we must set the minimum wage.
This is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight, Uganda's population explosion, is it sustainable? You mentioned the issue of maize. I think starting December 2012, it will not be permitted to export unprocessed maize. So you have to take it to a grain miller before you can export it. It's going to have to be packed and processed. Nicholas, you mentioned the issue of the president disagreeing with the technical people. So it's not only the central bank governor who's having fights with the president, the population people. They were here some time back, some people from and they said, well, the president disagrees with them, but he doesn't interfere with their work. It's my prayer that he actually doesn't.
He may not interfere directly, but
he
has a voice. The president.
No, for us, we come and speak like for 15 times.
Then he
makes one rally.
He's killed all,
destroys everything.
We're going for a break. We'll be back. Do stay tuned to Radio 1.
Thank you for coming to the executive suite, madam. My name is Richard, your executive banker, and I'm here to handle all your banking needs.
Oh, really? Thank you. I noticed you don't have any queues here.
No, Mrs. Asio, we do not.
Oh, wow. You even know my name?
But of course, madam. Today we are offering you a current account with a Gold Visa debit card, home loans with attractive rates, Gold Visa credit cards, and unsecured personal loan.
All that for me?
Yes. In addition, we can offer you internet banking so that you can access our services from anywhere, even your home.
Oh, this is too much. What else will you give me now? Chai?
Experience executive banking at Stanbic Bank.
Excuse me, madam. Your cup of chai?
Ask about executive banking at your nearest branch or visit our executive banking suites in Nakasero Towers, Forest Mall at Lugogo, Garden City, Ntinda, Makerere, Mbarara, Mukono, Mbale, Lira and Gulu.
Stanbic Bank. Moving forward. Special announcement. The organizing committee of St. Leo's College Chegobe Obis Association invites with pleasure all Obis to the general meeting to be held on Saturday 9th July 2011 at 2 p.m. at the College of Computing and Information Sciences Conference Room, Makerere University Main Campus, Kampala. For further information, please contact Dr. Twaha Ali Basamba, Vice President, Obis Association, on 0782-475-422 and Stefan Mugabe on 0776-440-538. End of announcement.
The art of crafting a jewel as experienced by the brewmaster.
Under the exacting international standards at Now Breweries, he uses only the finest, most carefully selected grains of roasted crystal malt and sets in motion the delicate process of releasing their full roast. The result is a world-class beer with a fresher aroma, a richer golden color, and a maltier taste. It isn't every day that you find yourself with a precious jewel in your hand and the distinction of having produced it as well.
Nile Gold Crystal Malt Lager. Beyond an ordinary malt.
Hi, I've got just 30 seconds to list all the destinations in Africa served by Kenya Airways out of Nairobi.
Abidjan, Accra, Addis Ababa, Bujumbura, Cairo, Cotonou, Dakar, Dar es Salaam.
He's never going to make it. Kenya Airways covers 70% of all destinations in Africa alone and several more worldwide. If you're starting from Uganda, there is no rush because Kenya Airways operates the most frequencies every day from Entebbe to the hub in Nairobi. So you can pick up any of these connections at your own convenience.
Johannesburg, Kigali, Kinshasa, Lagos, Lilongwe, Lusaka, Lubumbashi.
Welcome back to Spectrum.
Controls over those machines.
All right. Spectrum tonight. Uganda's population explosion, is it sustainable? You'll be able to call in and contribute to this discussion in a short while. Our guests tonight, Mr. Isaiah Mbuga, very, very knowledgeable program officer at the Population Secretariat, and Mr. Nicholas Opiyo, legal consultant at AKJUL, also Pundit on political and human rights. Mr. Mbuga, how can we change that?
In this nation, so that any woman who gets into a relationship should get into it knowing what she's going to get out of it and what she's going to contribute. As we speak now, we still have problems of health workers that are absent. We still
still have places that have not health now. Women that are still walking 25 kilometers to just access family planning, and when they arrive at the place where they should have accessed family planning, the services are not there that they want. I was telling you that because men do not want women to take family planning, many women now want to take long-term methods, a method that she will have privately and quietly so that she doesn't conceive for a year. I also tell one of the things we need to do is to encourage men to participate in reproductive health issues. I tell any man, if you have a privilege of making a woman pregnant, you should have the responsibility of escorting her to the labor ward.
What difference does that make?
It makes a lot of difference because most of these men think the women go there and they just smile and then the baby comes. I've had to talk to a number of men who have been to a labor ward. They tell me they've changed their mind and attitudes about their mothers and about their wives. Any man who does not go to the labor ward will be the man who will be demanding his wife to produce 6 children. But under the normal circumstances and the lives that we live today, it's no longer viable to produce many children. 3, we are encouraging we are encouraging girls to remain in school longer, because the longer a girl stays in school, then the fewer children she is going to produce, and she will also delay the onset of child production. Right. With the current dropout rate of about 60%, 63%, most of the girls that drop out at P7, by 15 they've had a child. So we want to encourage girls to stay longer in school, and that calls on the Ministry of Education to adjust the curriculum so that people who are not academically talented will have something that keeps them within a school system, right, so that they can continue in a school system without actually getting pregnant. That's why we are happy about this BTVET program. But we say that the BTVET program, more should be done. Skills should be provided, and information, family planning information should be provided. I've had talks with people who tell me, you know, if you have sex standing up, you can't conceive. Oh. If you take an aspirin before sex, you will not conceive. Right. If you drink a very, very, very strong tea leaves after sex, you will not get pregnant. Right. You know, and some of that information is actually not true. But if you go to the university here in Makerere and ask girls, what do you do in case you don't have condoms, they'll tell you that's what they use.
So myths go up to the ivory tower.
Yes, they are there, and that's why you see girls there get pregnant. And if you are I would want to challenge the Ministry of Health to one day conduct a kind of an on-spot inspection, right, of all operating theaters and mini operating theaters around Wandege and Waise and Kasubi. You'll be shocked.
So the university girls are not very different from the women. A woman was given they were given a demonstration, condoms. They were given, someone wrapped it over a banana, and then they gave them condoms that they took them home. This woman put it on a banana, put it under her pillow, and she was surprised she got pregnant.
Yeah, because of too much belief in superstition.
There's no difference between that woman and the woman at the university, the girl at the university. Mr. Opiyo, let's talk about the role of poverty. And of course, I'd like you to talk to us about the new population policy that was launched recently. But first of all, Mr. Opiyo, let's talk about poverty and ignorance. To what extent does this
even before you talk about poverty and ignorance and its role in the explosion of numbers in this country, you've got to mention the fact that even in this, amidst all these rising numbers, take into account the fact that malaria, HIV/AIDS and other preventable diseases are killing people in this country every day in almost, if not exceeding numbers than the population that we have. So then
malaria is a control method as well.
one in every 13 kids born in Uganda does not reach 1 year. They die.
Right.
And
exactly.
Because of malaria.
So I think that speaks volumes about quality of life.
Right.
You don't just talk about population without a corresponding issues of quality.
But some people say they need to produce many because they don't know how many will survive. If you give birth to 9, maybe you will save 3.
No, it's no longer that way. Most of the kids that are born survive, as much as we lose many. But many of the kids that are born are surviving. And so someone is stuck with 6 kids. And when you're going to look at household expenditure, vis-a-vis saving, because most of the people are in informal sector.
Yes.
They don't have NSSF, you know, and so they're spending all their money trying to raise children, giving them the best that they can give, hoping that the children will be their insurance. And that's a big issue. So we need a total revamp. Somebody needs to take certain decisions without fear of what people are going to think.
And of course, the truth is that the poorer, the more kids they have.
What's the ideal number? How many children should we have, looking at where we're going?
Well, if you ask my own opinion, I'll have 2 children.
No, manageable. I mean, at the national level, some people will say that's totally unacceptable.
Well, the point is you can't have numbers and, like people have in China, you must have 1 child. But I think the emphasis should be that the number of children you have should be children you can take care of.
So you should pick up the calculator on your wedding day. As you manage the budget for the wedding, you do projections, 25-year projection by the time he graduates. Can you talk?
The point is, there is a report we did which is called the Child Cost Index, and we found that in order to raise
Child Cost Index. Go on.
In order to raise a child from day 1 up to the time the child leaves your home with a degree is about 48 million. Now, 48 million,
and it keeps on rising.